Hi there, my name is Suze, and I work with women to help them find balance between their internal masculine and feminine energies so that they can have lives that feel really emotionally fulfilling, full of love and connection. So, today I have an interesting subject, the problem with boundaries in relationships, right? And you're probably like, why would boundaries be a problem in relationships, right? I kind of put a funny title on it today. If any of you know me, you know I love talking about boundaries, and I actually did a talk on boundaries, another video a bit ago, and I talked about boundaries are not to protect you. So if you're new to the whole boundaries thing, or you're looking for more like really fundamental mindset shifts around boundaries and helping you understand why boundaries are actually amazing and feel really good, if you want work around that, I'd really recommend going back and seeing that video. Boundaries are not to protect you. We're going to go directly into relationships and boundaries right now. And when I say relationship, I mean, in this case, I'm talking more of romantic relationships, a feminine, masculine man being in relationship, or you being in a committed relationship and trying to move it in a better, healthier direction. Okay. And I really do feel like there's not enough information or tools out there about moving a relationship into a healthy direction. And too often there's advice just leave the relationship. And I don't think that's really helpful a lot of the time. You know, it's like there's always all this it's so easy to like find information to convince you to leave a relationship and not enough information and tools of how to actually move a relationship forward in a healthy way. Because here's the problem, right? First of all, I wasn't going to say this, I'm totally going to go there right now because I don't want any misunderstandings on this video. This is very important. I do not want any misunderstanding of my message today around boundaries. So let me say this way. It's very challenging when you enter into a relationship, you're working on yourself. You're working on yourself, and you finally meet someone who aligns with you of where you're at that level of your journey. Then they align with you and things are good in the beginning. But then the problem is if you continue to grow and you continue to work on yourself, then you become aware of other things in the relationship that maybe need to shift and change and become healthy. Things that maybe you weren't aware of before because you have now grown. So your perspective on the relationship has changed. And now you're aware of things that you're like, ooh, I don't really like this. I really wish we could kind of shift and move this into a little bit better place. Now that I know better, I want better, right? That's what happens. And so then too often there's too much information and encouragement to just leave. Like, oh, well, you've outgrown the relationship. Bye. Well, maybe, yes, maybe. And I have done that. I left my marriage. I initiated a divorce. I left. So sometimes that is the case. But I think there needs to be more encouragement to really stay and learn how to move a relationship forward into healthy because it is actually possible a lot more than I think people think. Or I should say, it's possible a lot more than people are led to believe. Moving a relationship into a bigger, healthier, more connected, more emotionally available, more emotionally intimate space, moving a relationship in that direction is more possible than you may think. We just need more information and tools around how to move it in that direction. And that's what I'm here for. That's my sole mission, is helping people know how to do that. So back to today's subject about boundaries. The problem with boundaries in relationship. It's not actually a problem. The problem is the human. The boundaries aren't the problem. It's the human that's the problem. And what I mean by that is this subject today is probably not going to be popular for a lot of people, and I don't care. This is my truth, and I'm speaking it. The problem with a lot of things I'm seeing out in the public is that women in relationships are blaming men instead of taking responsibility for their part in a dysfunctional aspect of their relationship. And particularly in the area of boundaries. If you as a woman, as you as a feminine, have something happening in your relationship that you recognize that you do not like, it is your responsibility to put a boundary in place and stop accepting or allowing that dynamic, that dysfunction to happen in your relationship. So it no longer becomes the man's problem if he is doing something that you do not like and you are not expressing a boundary that tells him this is unacceptable. The second part of that is that once you have put out that boundary saying that something is no longer acceptable to you, maybe it was previously, maybe a lower version of you, a less aware, a less confident, a less of a self-worth version of you, maybe that thing was acceptable, but the fact that now in this present moment it is no longer acceptable to you and you see it as unhealthy or disrespectful or dysfunctional, it is your responsibility to first of all speak the boundary, but then second of all, you need to lose your fear of losing the relationship, because that probably is why you're not willing to put the boundary into place in the first place. If you value yourself and how you feel in your life and how you are being treated in your life, and that is the priority, you will have no problem communicating with a man that I really didn't like how that feels and that's not okay with me anymore. You have to then realize if he doesn't agree with that, and then therefore you may lose him, that it's okay. So it's a matter of being firm enough and confident and strong enough in yourself of choosing you and what you need and what you value for yourself in a relationship, in a dynamic, and losing the fear of losing the man or losing the relationship. Until you get over that fear of loss, you're not going to be able to have the relationship you want, because you're not going to be able to put boundaries or communicate things that are unacceptable to you. I'm really fired up about this subject because I'm really getting sick and tired of seeing women blaming men for everything and not realizing all the power that women have. The feminine has so much more power than she is willing to give herself in a lot of these scenarios that I'm seeing out there. And it's time for the feminine to take her power back. You get to decide what you allow to continue. And if you're not putting your boundaries in place and expressing that you don't like something, that something is not okay with you, then you are the problem. And if you're not expressing this dislike because you're afraid of losing the relationship, then that's the first problem that has to be solved. The relationship isn't the thing. You are the thing. This is where everything starts shifting. You know, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again really quickly. The masculine energy is what rules the 3D physical world, the physical reality. Feminine energy is what rules the ethereal, the spiritual, the emotional world. So if you're having an emotional experience and recognizing you want to feel things differently, it is the feminine's responsibility to create change there. And you do that by speaking to what you no longer accept. I hope this message helped. I'm going to make this video kind of short today because I want to leave it there. I want it to be potent. I want it to be clear. I really hope this video convicted some people. Please do check out my other video on boundaries if you want some more support around how to communicate boundaries, how to do that. That may really help you. I'm also remembering I did another video, the 2 times to talk. Feminine energy, there's 2 reasons for feminine energy to speak. And that video may help you out on this subject as well. If you found value and some help and some power in this message, I really hope that you will like and subscribe so that this message can get out there to more people. Thank you so much for listening with an open heart and with an open mind. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.